Hey everyone, I'm Cornshaq and welcome to part 2 of my top 20 games of 2014. Let's just cut to the chase and start counting down those coveted top 10 games. Number 10. Number 10 on our list is Lisa. This independent released RPG, which recently hit the Steam marketplace, has definitely been catching a lot of my attention the last few weeks of 2014. Lisa is a post-apocalyptic side-scrolling RPG, very much inspired by Earthbound. You can see little hints of Earthbound everywhere in this RPG. The music, atmospheric quirkiness, but it's also more adult. It's set in a post-apocalyptic wasteland where it's all men and only one woman. It's about saving the last woman on Earth. This game has a ton of humor, some pretty degenerate and sick things at times, and a pretty difficult battle system, but with tons of variety to it, with each individual character, and there's a lot of characters you can recruit, all having uniqueness to them with their different movesets and what they bring to the table. I can't wait to actually fully finish Lisa, but from everything I've played right now, Lisa is one of the best independent RPGs I've ever played. Number 9. Number 9 on the list is a AAA title. It's Far Cry 4 from Ubisoft. Now, after the debacle that was the launch of Assassin's Creed Unity, Ubisoft really needed a much better game to hit the market, and they got one just a week later. Far Cry 4 is exactly what I wanted in a sequel from Far Cry 3, which was one of my favorite games of 2012. Far Cry 4 provides very similar gameplay on a pretty huge open world style map where you can explore large areas of it at any time, even from the very beginning of the game. The look and feel of this game is absolutely gorgeous. The Himalayan-style mountains that are all throughout are beautiful to look at. There's also the hunting and other side quests, along with all the side quests pretty much from Far Cry 3. There's even more added to it and more activities to do. Tons of collectibles to find, if that's your thing. But what's great is, for those who don't like to necessarily collect everything in a game, you only have to collect a handful in order to actually get the trophies and achievements for the game. Far Cry 4 has another good story. While I don't think the main villain is quite as good as the Voss from Far Cry 3, this game still provides a very, very entertaining main villain that you can't wait to interact with more as the story progresses. Overall, Far Cry 4 was a much-needed, great AAA title after the failure that was AC Unity. Number 8. We're going to show Nintendo some more love and talk about Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze as number 8 on my top 20 list of 2014. Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze from Retro Studios is, of course, the follow-up to Retro Studios' Donkey Kong Returns on the Nintendo Wii, also later released on the 3DS. Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze is another fantastic platformer from Retro Studios. The look and heart that from the original Donkey Kong Country trilogy I think is here, and even more so than before, adding new playable characters in Dixie and Cranky Kong, with each one playing, of course, differently from one another, and it really changes up the gameplay depending upon which Kong you're currently playing as. Bringing back Dave Wise for the soundtrack from the original Donkey Kong Country trilogy brings it even more of that look and feel that you really want for these new Donkey Kong games. And if you were a fan of those original Donkey Kong Country games, I feel that you will really love Tropical Freeze especially. Yeah, the Kremlins aren't back and it's a whole new variety of enemies, but I think the variety of enemies, the new types in this game are much better than they were in Donkey Kong Returns, and I feel that this game not only surpasses what the first Donkey Kong Returns game did, but also it stands out as one of the best platformers we will see for a long time. Number 7. Number 7 on the list is The Ultra Rhythm Curtain Call, the follow-up to the original from Square Enix's 3DS-based rhythm game featuring all Final Fantasy music. Fans of Final Fantasy, one of their favorite things, of course, is probably the soundtracks, and this game provides music from not only the main number Final Fantasies, but a lot of the side games as well, like Tactics and Mystic Quest. There's many different modes to play, kind of adventure-style modes, just playing for high score, tons of different difficulties. lots of characters and other things to unlock throughout, online mode, battle modes. There's tons to do in The Outer Rhythm Curtain Call. They even have DLC to add more gameplay to the mix. If you're a fan of Final Fantasy and rhythm games, you really need to do yourself a favor and check out The Outer Rhythm Curtain Call, and it looks like the series is going to continue, as they've announced there will be a Dragon Quest based one. I just hope that Square Enix will allow us to play it here in North America. Number 6. Number 6 on my list is Dragon Age Inquisition. Now, this BioWare RPG is one I was very much looking forward to. I was a little iffy, though, because as much as I loved Origins, the second game was definitely a disappointment, but I think BioWare has gone back and made this one fantastic. Now, I haven't finished it quite yet, and because of that, this may move up in my top 20 games once I am fully done with it, but from everything I'm playing, I'm loving every moment of it. This game provides everything you love in BioWare RPGs, from the dialogue choices, the humor, and especially the creative and interesting characters, along with a very good core RPG mechanic. If you're a fan of the Western-style RPG, I definitely think Dragon Age Inquisition is one of the better examples, and easily I think the best example of a Western RPG that came out in 2014. Number 5. Number 5 on the list is Professor Layton and the Azeron Legacy, the 6th game in the Professor Layton series and the 3rd one in the prequel trilogy, the Azeron trilogy, and this one ties together everything that's been going on for the previous couple of games, but also has its own full story, and it's another stellar example of not only challenging puzzles, but a great story and characters that bring everything together and makes these games so fun and enjoyable to play. You want to struggle through the next puzzle just so you can see where the storyline is going to be going. Now, there's actually 2 Professor Layton games this year, this one and his team up with Phoenix Wright, but I definitely preferred the standalone Azeron Legacy, maybe because it concluded the previous story that had been going on. Now, this game isn't my favorite in the series. I still think that goes to Unwound Future, but Professor Layton and the Azeron Legacy is probably number 2, or maybe 3, depending upon where I want to put the original that made me love the series so much. But overall, Professor Layton and the Azeron Legacy, if you're a puzzle game fan, you gotta check this game out. And if you just like good storylines, there's plenty of hints to help you, even if you're not quite as good with the puzzles, so you can still enjoy the story. Number 4. Number 4 on this list is Bravely Default from Square Enix. This JRPG is one of the most stellar games in its genre in a long time. For those who are classic fans of the original Final Fantasy games and have felt outcasted by the more modern Final Fantasies like 12 and 13, this game goes back to those kind of roots, using a class-based system. The characters and story that eventually and slowly develop throughout becomes better and better each and every chapter that you progress through. It is grind-heavy at times, and there's a ton of different classes to kind of get and things to learn. And if you're a fan, especially I would say of Final Fantasy V, or maybe even Final Fantasy IX, I think there's definitely some elements of those games, especially in this one. But just overall, if you're a fan of JRPGs, you need to do yourself a favor and check out Bravely Default. I do not think you'll be disappointed. Number 3. Number 3 on this list is South Park: The Stick of Truth from Obsidian Entertainment. Now, South Park: The Stick of Truth is another RPG, and it's an RPG that's done extremely well and is very basic. It is a great introductory game to RPGs if you've never played them before. I kind of compare it a little bit to Super Mario RPG, that it's not overly complicated with its battle system and never gets super challenging, except maybe a couple of boss fights if you don't go in quite prepared for them. The game looks and feels like a full-blown South Park cartoon or movie. If you're a fan of the South Park series like I am, you will absolutely love, I think, every single moment of this game. Now, if you're offended by crude humor, you're gonna be offended probably by this game, as there's some pretty crude moments, that is for darn sure, and it doesn't take too long before you start jumping into that kind of humor. However, for those who can enjoy adult humor, South Park Stick of Truth is not only a fun RPG, but is also one of the most entertaining games of the year. Number 2. So here we go with the top 2 games of 2014. And I decided to go with Walking Dead Season 2 for my number 2 spot on this countdown. And Walking Dead Season 2, I will immediately say I don't think is quite as good as Walking Dead Season 1. That's why I didn't grab my number 1 spot, but Season 2 is still a stellar example of storytelling in a game. Yeah, a lot of people will argue, well, there's really not a whole lot of gameplay to these Telltale games, when it's mainly just moving around, point and clicking on things. However, it's about the characters and the story in this game. Clementine is now the main character, and she grows and matures throughout this game a lot more so than she did in the original Season 1, and becomes one of the best characters in video games probably of all time. Walking Dead Season 2 is just as brutal and just as gritty and just as depressing as Season 1, with some real key moments. There's some joyous moments here and there, but then immediately hopes and dreams get crushed by the depressing zombie apocalypse that is going on all around you. Walking Dead Season 2, if you are a fan of classic point-and-click games and haven't given any of these games a try, check out Season 1 and then check out Season 2. The Walking Dead games are a great example of story in video games. It's number 1. Oh boy, it's time for number 1 on my list, and it is Shovel Knight from Yacht Club Games. What can I say about Shovel Knight? If you are a fan of retro-style games, or games in general, check out Shovel Knight. Retro shouldn't even be put into that. Yacht Club Games did an amazing job with this game. They put a lot of heart and soul into this. If you're a fan especially of sprite-based artwork in games, this one does quite a great job with that. Every enemy, every background, every screen of this game is fantastically designed with little nuances in the background. The enemy designs are fun and imaginative. Of course, I'm a huge fan of the rats with the little helicopter propellers on them. There's lots of different levels to explore with a Mario 3 style map selection for you to be able to select what level you want to go to. There's towns to explore, tons of different collectibles to find in the levels and different abilities to get, branching off into ways to fight each of the boss fights. Overall, Shovel Knight is one of the best examples of game design we have seen in a long time, and I hope that we get to not only see more from this game, we get to see a sequel and other game companies take note and look at, while yes, it looks simple, Shovel Knight has exactly what gaming needs in it. So there you have it, guys, my top 20 games of 2014. Did your favorite game make the list? Let me know, of course, down below what your thoughts. What would you have changed up? What games would you have added? Games I didn't mention that I should check out if I haven't already. Like I said, I didn't get a chance to play every single game I would have liked to going into this list, and there's so many games. I try to play as many as I can, but unfortunately, there's only so much time. Overall, though, guys, it was a great year, I think, for gaming, and I've had a fantastic year. So with that, I would like to wish everyone a happy new year. Let's hope 2015 is even better than 2014, no matter what it was for you, good or bad. Let's make 2015 better. Thanks for watching, and of course, I hope you enjoyed.